Hello, my name is Ed Sharkovich, and I am the founder of the Scud Diaries. We are a group of professional photographer storm chasers that go out into the field to capture images and video footage of severe weather as it approaches a three-county area in Northeast Florida. Today, you'll be learning about a technological deficit that affects you and your family. My group consists of Monique Sirois Futch, a retired school administrator and a well-known Flagler Beach surf photographer. Flagler Beach attorney Scott W. Spradley, also a well-accomplished photographer. Retired respiratory therapist Jeff Majewski. And myself, seen here with one of the many exciting things we encounter while out on the road. My fascination with weather began in the late 1970s and early 1980s when I worked as a commercial clammer on Long Island's Great South Bay. One of the things I learned when I first moved down here in 1992 is that the South really doesn't care how we did things up north. That being said, the way that we did it up north was to go out in our boats and with a 30-inch rake head with 5-inch teeth attached to a 30-foot pole with a T-handle on the end, we would set up a drift, digging the teeth into the bottom and scrape it for these little guys. We would work year-round and in varying conditions, such as these clammers seen here working in a snowstorm. When the bay froze over, we would dig channels into the ice with chainsaws and clam without the boats. Summertime weather was always the most challenging, and we became very adept at reading storms when they came into the area, working until the last minute so that we could maximize our harvest and make enough money to put food on the table. The T-handle on the end of our rake poles was also our weather reading instrument. As statically charged thunderstorm clouds came into the area, they would pull electrons from our clamming gear, causing our poles to sing. The tradition passed down from the old-timers was that we had 10 minutes from the time our poles began to sing to get things buttoned up before becoming endangered by lightning. If we waited until the hair on our forearms stood on end, we waited too long and risked being injured. Time went on, and I went to college and then graduate school. I spent 24 years practicing as a chiropractor. When the Obama administration entered office and began making noises of socializing healthcare, I, along with 70% of my graduating class, cashed out, and I decided to pursue a lifelong dream of being a professional photographer. Retired New York City photographer John Olivo took me under his wing as a student. That's him on the left. 6 years later, by an odd stroke of luck, I became the student of Pierre Matisse, the 87-year-old grandson of French master painter Henri Matisse. That's him in the middle. With the advice of two great men, my work now appears in the offices of President George W. Bush, New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani, U.S. Congressman Ron DeSantis, Florida Senator Travis Hudson, and is on permanent display in the Flagler Beach Historical Museum. This shot is from Bing's Landing. The next one is the famous walking starfish of South 23rd Street. That has close to 500,000 hits on social media. Here we have a Navy Corsair, World War II vintage at the Flagler County Airport, and Phoenix Rising at the World Trade Center. One of the things my photography has always come back to is severe weather, my roots. These are mammatus clouds over St. Mary's Catholic Church in Corona, Florida. For close to a year at this point, I had been hearing about the sky-worn weather spotter classes given by the National Weather Service. I talked some friends into going with me and had the expectation that the information would enable me to improve my storm photography by expanding my knowledge base. During the Skywarn class, it was mentioned that the reason why the National Weather Service offers the courses for free in Flagler County regularly is that all of Flagler County lies within a gap in Doppler coverage. Because of the placement of the Jacksonville and Melbourne Doppler installations and the curvature of the Earth, there is a blind spot in which all of Flagler County and parts of St. Johns and Volusia counties are invisible on radar. In the northern half of Flagler County, the blind spot goes from the ground up to 5,000 feet. In the southern half, it extends up to 10,000 feet. This gap extends as far north as the St. Augustine Pier and as far south as State Route 40 in Ormond Beach. The second most impressive thing I got from the Skywarn class was that the funnel cloud-looking formations visible on the advancing front lines of a storm system are called Scuds, and they never turn into tornadoes or waterspouts. Monique Sirois-Futch leaned over to me during the class and said, "You've been chasing the wrong part of the storm. I'm going to call you Scud from now on. You're busted." The gap turned into a niche for us to fill, and with very little deliberation, we became the Scudbuster Diaries, the eyes and ears of the National Weather Service and the Emergency Operations Center in the gap, storm chasing for public safety. There's a difference between weather forecasting and storm chasing. Meteorologists have access to tremendous amounts of technology, and via computer data and prediction models, they are able to scientifically foresee what the weather will do both globally and locally. Storm chasers are very interested in what the meteorologists are predicting, but where we shine is in the hour before a storm hits. We look at the immediate data and correlate it with visual cues to plot a course to intercept and document weather that is happening in a small area. What we are not: glory seekers, adrenaline junkies, know-it-alls, forecasters, alarmists, or sensationalizers. Our goal is to accomplish the following. Number 1, to take our professional abilities in photography and videography and our growing skill set in storm tracking and provide visual documentation for severe weather that enters Flagler County. Number 2, to take the information we gather and package it in a non-sensationalized manner and then present it to the public to inspire them to become more informed about their surroundings, especially the weather. Number 3, to get as many Flagler County residents Skywarn certified as possible. Our toolkit contains an arsenal of DSLRs, camcorders, GoPros, anemometers, solar phone chargers, and tripods. Our storm chase vehicles, both for the short-term and long-term chases, and with the advent of growing smartphone technology, the following apps. On the left, the National Weather Service app, which will dial you into in-depth weather forecasts for your particular GPS location. This is free. On the right is NOAA's Storm Prediction Center, which will give you both graphics and alerts for areas of severe weather throughout the entire country. Also free. Radar Scope. This is the app used by many National Weather Service meteorologists. There's a number of great features in this product, including lightning tracking, storm direction, and split screen viewing to be able to see two factors at the same time. And if you're traveling around the state or the country, you can pull up the radar feed from any National Weather Service Doppler installation. For the techie, there are a full host of parameters that you can pull up to look at specific readings from any given storm. Radar Scope costs just $10 per year, and it is well worth the price. This next one is both an app and a website and is called blitzertongue.org. It is a lightning detector that uses electromagnetic discharge sensors placed around the globe. I have the website version saved to my phone's desktop. The Sparks setting inside of the WeatherBug app. This is a specific lightning distance indicator and provides invaluable warnings to let you know when to take cover. Next is earth.nullschool.net, a website that you can save to your phone's desktop. It shows real-time wind patterns and steering currents on an interactive globe. You can dial in to any location and know what the atmosphere is doing. This 3-panel slide is the app for the Weather Underground, or Wonderground. This is a compilation of amateur weather enthusiasts with home-based weather stations, with each home base setup costing into the thousands of dollars. This app allows you to see local weather information on an interactive map, and in many cases you'll be able to pull up readings from only a couple of blocks away. Each home weather station carries an accuracy rating given out by the National Weather Service. Up next is Pro Weather Alert. This app turns your phone into a weather alert device and enables you to receive warnings from both NOAA and the National Weather Service. The National Hurricane Center website gives you up-to-date storm tracks and reports. SpaghettiModels.com. This website places all National Weather Service and NOAA graphics in one easy-to-locate page, plus when there are active tropic cyclones, they publish both American and European storm track probabilities. Tides Near Me. This free app gives you listings for high and low tides, as well as sunrise, sunset, moonrise, and moonset. This is useful predicting when dangerous flooding events may occur, as well as for going fishing. Now, if all of that is too much for you and you just want a simple, no-nonsense weather report, then go to Flagler Weather Info on Facebook. It's run by the Flagler County Emergency Operations Center and is updated daily, more often when there's a risk of severe weather. Networking. So, when severe weather threatens our area, what happens? There are 4 groups that have eyes on every storm that comes towards our area. The National Weather Service at the top, the Emergency Operations Center on the left, Flagler County Assist React on the right, and us, the Scud Diaries, on the bottom. If the storm has potential for causing damage, the National Weather Service issues an alert to both the Emergency Operations Center and Skywarn weather spotters. The EOC then issues an alert to React, who elevates the county's Skywarn preparedness system, and to the county's 2 ham radio groups that serve as backup should the county's communication system fail. The Scud Diaries, either witnessing severe weather personally or receiving an alert from the National Weather Service or the EOC, activates 2 Facebook Messenger groups. The first on the left contains the 4 Scud members, National Weather Service meteorologist Ben Nelson, and Flagler County Emergency Operations Center's Bob Pickering. Information and advisories on the storm are shared and evaluated. The second, on the right, is the Northeast Florida Weather Spotters group and contains 30 Skywarn trained photographers who then go out into the gap to provide us with severe weather information. As we all pool our resources from the field, we report directly back to the National Weather Service and the Emergency Operations Center regarding the impact of severe weather in the gap. When the weather is quote-unquote good, we spend our time assisting emergency services with other gaps, such as in the establishment of fireflight landing zones, or with traffic detail, seen here in a recent 4th of July parade route. Public outreach. In order to get our message out to the community, we have several public outsourcing programs. Youth events, such as this science fair booth we set up at Old Kings Elementary School. We had 1,100 children and parents take information about the Gap and our group. Nature and conservation events, such as this recent Earth Day celebration held at Washington Oaks Garden State Park. We had 2,500 people at that event. At each event that we go to, we furnish handouts for both children and adults. We have large-scale banners for group viewing. This one is double-sided and will be placed in the back of one of our members' pickup trucks for this year's Christmas parade in Flagler Beach. Social media. The Scudbuster Diaries has a Facebook page, and our fan base is getting very close to 1,000 people every day. We also do live storm chases through the Periscope app. This free app can be downloaded onto your smartphone. Search for the Scudbuster Diaries, and you can watch our adventures live via our dash cams. Network media. Here I am talking about my photography and storm adventures on First Coast News Jacksonville. And our newest adventure, which began in July of 2016. All of our work in the community has attracted the attention of Flagler County Television, Channel 492 on the Bright House Network. The Scudbuster Diaries is now showing weekly both on Flagler County TV and via YouTube links on our Facebook page. Here we are filming in the studio, and here is the opening sequence for the show. Before I wrap this presentation up, I want to show you some of my favorite storm chase shots from recent history, such as this one when Hurricane Sandy was off the coast of Flagler Beach, steaming its way up to the northeast. Our first shot is from North 17th Street, Flagler Beach. This is probably one of the most impressive shelf clouds that I've seen to date. If any of you remember the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, specifically the part where the mothership makes its grand appearance, this had the same effect to Scott Spradley and I standing on the beach. This is the same storm 5 minutes later. On the right-hand side of the ridge is warm, humid air from the day's accumulation. On the left side is cold air advancing to the right, the result of heavy rain from the collapse of this monster cell. This is the St. Augustine Lighthouse Pier, looking north towards a large storm over Volano Beach. You can see on the radar screenshot on the right-hand side my proximity to the center of the storm, represented by a white box, and my location by the blue circle. This is the SunTrust Bank in Palm Coast at the corner of State Route 100 and Old Kings Road South, getting hit by lightning. I was in the car at the time shooting through a partially open window. North Peninsula Park, Ormond Beach. This is a horizontal road cloud that made its appearance for 10 minutes. Very exciting to watch. This shot is from Edgewater and shows the formation of twin funnel clouds out over the ocean. Neither one dropped into a waterspout. Nevertheless, it was also amazing to watch. These impressive formations are mammatus clouds and made their appearance over St. Mary's Catholic Church in Corona after a severe weather-alerted storm passed out to sea. Not all of our reporting focuses on the sky. We also report on oceanic occurrences as well. The combination of onshore winds, full moon, and several days' worth of heavy rains caused the Intracoastal Waterway to overflow its banks into this children's playground in Flagler Beach. Similarly, a week's worth of heavy surf from a nor'easter removed a devastating amount of sand from both Marineland and Washington Oaks State Park beaches. Not everything we see is mayhem and destruction. This is a fog bow in Flagler Beach. Yes, a fog bow. They are formed on the same principles as rainbows, except that the water particles suspended in the air are too small to break light into its constituent red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet colors. The result is a white rainbow. And of course, here's a classic rainbow shot at the Flagler Beach Pier. This next one is my favorite shot to talk about because it was the storm that perfectly demonstrated everything I have just spoken about. A tornado-warned storm began in Grieve Cove Springs and headed southeast towards St. Augustine Beach. When the first tornado warning went out, I left Flagler Beach and arrived at the St. Augustine Pier just as the storm arrived in Hastings. From the end of the St. Augustine Pier, I could see the system clearly rotating. Suddenly, the entire storm dropped in altitude. The National Weather Service in Jacksonville canceled the tornado warning, but yet I watched the storm continue to rotate. It had entered the blind spot. It had entered the gap. As I looked out across the beach at the families and children playing in the surf, I called the meteorologist at the National Weather Service and informed him that the storm was dropping a funnel. 5 seconds later, they issued a new warning. I heard the signals going out across the beach, and as people began to leave, I had my first satisfying moment that all of our work had paid off for the very reasons we had set out to do them. Despite our experience, we are still learning, and this shot will forever keep me humble. This is me trying to figure out why my radar screen on the right is completely black. After a half hour, I sent a screenshot to tech support. Their answer back to me was, "You are lost at sea." "Lost at sea?" I wrote back. "Yes," they replied. "You probably put your phone into your pocket without closing the screen down. Hit your homing button." I did, and immediately I was whisked from off the coast of Portugal back to Flagler Beach. Because of our technology situation, we need your reports. Wind damage, storm gusts over 40 miles an hour, hail, tornadoes and waterspouts, flooding that impedes traffic or comes into your yard where it doesn't belong, fires from lightning strikes. All are reportable events. The best knowledge to have is that there is a gap and there is a technology problem in our area. The gap is a very real entity and it won't be going away anytime soon. The only way to fix it is to put another Doppler installation either in Ocala or Gainesville. In our current world of government cutbacks, that won't be happening anytime soon. Pick up an emergency preparedness guide from your local emergency operations center. Take the Skywarn classes offered by the National Weather Service. Educate yourself to protect your families and circle of friends. You can find us on Facebook or find a link to our website on edsharkphotoimages.com. If you find that your life or property is affected by severe weather, give us a call. One of our severe weather photographers will come to you in order to document the event, provide you with copies of pictures for your insurance company, and then report the data to the National Weather Service. Don't forget, the Scudbuster Diaries TV show is airing now on Flagler County Television, and we encourage you once again to take the Skywarn class, become your own amateur meteorologist, and safeguard your family inside of the gap. Thanks for watching.